Harley Davidson coming out with a brand new Sportster model for 2025. Let's get into it. Hello, welcome to RevelatorAlf. I hope you're all well. So, the word in the ether is that Harley Davidson will be bringing out brand new motorcycles for 2025. No surprise there, you might say. But what is a surprise is that they're going to be releasing a brand new Sportster model. Now, many would have argued, well, why did Harley Davidson as a company, as a motor company, why did they do away with the Sportster model at all? It was a good seller, good entry bike into the Harley Davidson world. Why do it? People are up in arms over it. And since that time, people have been asking the same thing. Well, where is the entry-level bike at an affordable price, right? So we've all been kind of saying this thing. So what's happened in the meantime is that Chinese motorcycle manufacturers have taken the Sportster. Now, whether it's under license, whether they've done some kind of deal with Harley Davidson, it's a little bit vague there. But they've certainly taken the Sportster engine and they developed their own Sportster. Now, that Sportster was supposed to have been sent over to Europe and certainly in the Far East over the last year, and they've been selling those. So the question is, if the Chinese can build a Sportster motorcycle that looks remarkably like a Sportster, right? And it's an air-cooled engine, and it can meet the Euro 5 emissions test, let's say, or whatever emissions tests are required, then why can't Harley Davidson build one? Why haven't they continued to build them? Because that was the argument why they ditched the Sportster, firstly in Europe, because it wasn't going to be able to meet the emissions controls over the next few years, the Euro 4s and then the Euro 5s. So that's why they ditched it. They weren't going to be able to match it. Well, the Chinese just proved that you can take that same engine and maybe just tweak it a little bit, just do something with it, re-engineer it in some way, and you can make it compliant. In fact, many air-cooled engines are compliant with Euro 5. So it's not as if just because it's an air-cooled engine, it can't be compliant. So if the Chinese can take this Sportster type motorcycle and they've given it a different name, but it looks remarkably like a Sportster, then why can't Harley Davidson do it? Well, the rumor is that indeed there is one coming. Now, it's unclear at this stage whether it's going to be an air-cooled engine or whether it's going to be with the Revolution Max engine. So if it's with the Revolution Max engine, you've got an inherent problem already. The problem is on price, because if you've got the Nightster Special, those are the kind of entry-level motorcycles for Harley Davidson, which are already at the $12,000-13,000 dollar shekel mark, then all of a sudden that's not entry-level price, is it? You need to be at least sub 10. Actually, you need to be in the range of about £8,000 or £9,000, dollars, whatever it is, to make that bike appealing in the way that the old Sportster was appealing on price as well. So would they be able to do it with a Revolution Max engine? Well, you would argue that, well, no, they haven't. They haven't been able to do it. And they're unlikely to be able to produce a bike that is cheaper than the Nightster and the Nightster S, for example, with a Revolution Max engine. If they did, then there is scope to make different engine sizes for a Sportster type motorcycle. You could, as we always thought, there was a 500, 700cc engine variant. Obviously, you've got 975, 1250. Well, let's just say you had a 1250 high performance Sportster and you also had a 975. You could even say a very entry level 700cc. That would kind of work in terms of placating the lot of criticism that Harley Davidson have been getting recently because of this entry-level gap in their lineup. But what about if they did come out with an air-cooled Sportster? They reworked it, re-engineered it, and said, look, we've listened to everybody. Many people don't like the Revolution Max engine. They like the air-cooled. This is what this company is based on. Why don't we do it? Why don't we bring it back out and redesign it and give it, a 2025, new look, as it were? But essentially, it's a Sportster air-cooled that's going to come in sub $10,000 or pounds or whatever it is. That's your entry-level bike. Well, it could happen. It could be on the cards. When you look at the press from the Far East, the Middle East and the Far East, a lot of the press that comes out of there, or the press releases that come out there, are for the bikes that are for that market. But some of them would be coming over to the European market as well, not necessarily to the American market, but you've got to look at the transition first of all. It goes to the European market first and goes to America, or they test the waters in the European market. So if they can produce bikes already, they're like Sportsters, but there are many other clones of Harley Davidson motorcycles, let's just say in this example, that they're going to be trying to sell in the Chinese market. We've already seen that they've produced a Goldwing, a Honda Goldwing, which I called a killer, which is, very similar to a Goldwing, which they think has got a lot more performance than a Goldwing. So it stands to rights that they're going to produce Harley Davidson and Indian type cruiser and tourer motorcycles that could do the same thing. If they've already produced the Sportsters and they're trying to push those into Europe, then maybe it's under license, maybe it's under some kind of back end agreement with Harley Davidson, then what's to stop Harley Davidson doing the same? In other words, either producing their own Sportster in the United States, or they have a Harley Davidson Sportster that is produced in China, for example, then they distribute that around the world. Now, the question is, would you buy it, right? Would you buy a Chinese Sportster? Well, many people would and many people wouldn't. It really depends. It all depends on the quality of that product at the end of the day. Now, as we know, for 2025, Harley Davidson kind of did a big U-turn, and this is what's annoyed so many people, especially in the United States, where they've taken the production or the assembly of the Nightster S and the Sportster S and the Pan America, I believe, and they've moved it over to Thailand. Well, could this be just an expansion of that? Could this be that either that they're going to produce a Sportster, either with an air-cooled or with the Revolution Max engine in Thailand, or is the reason why they've moved the production over there to make room for an expanded production in the United States of the Sportster with an air-cooled engine? There's lots of speculation here. There's lots of rumour going on. But if you kind of piece it together, if you read in between the lines, if you dot the I's and cross the T's, on rumour, granted, then you look at where the market is, where there's been a gap in the market, and also what the competitors do, or certainly what partners are doing in different countries, then you kind of think, actually, if this is ripe for Harley Davidson to bring out a motorcycle that people have been calling out for a long, long time. Would you welcome a Sportster coming back? Do you think it should be air-cooled as opposed to a Revolution Max engine? And do you think this is even going to happen? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. But I certainly would welcome a Sportster come back into Harley Davidson lineup if it's below £10,000 or dollars or whatever the price is. But it's got to be cheap enough for an entry level. If they can make different engine size variants of a Sportster, all the better. I think that'd be fantastic. But as I say, if other manufacturers in different parts of the world are making these types of motorcycles and they are passing emissions controls, then what's to stop Harley Davidson doing it? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. But maybe Sportster is coming very, very soon. Catch you again. Bye now.